Hello Communivius fans, my name is KG and I'm back from quite a long break with yet another shoutcast from the CoH Balance Beta, the second revision of it, between Seb and Contador or TomiToma, of course both expert players on gr.org. I think they're the same nationality, they are a team as well, a 2v2 team, and probably friends as well. And of course I forgot, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you had some a nice time during the holidays. And yeah, there you go. Let's get this game starting, and we're gonna have the chance to talk about stuff during the first slow moments of every single game of CoH. So we'll press the 5-second mark and we'll be unpausing in 3, 2, 1, go. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. As I was saying, the players are Seb playing as the Americans and located in the north of Langres, and TomiToma playing as the Wehrmacht and located in the south. Fairly standard positioning by TomiToma, placing his Wehrmacht quarters as much to the east of his base as he can, so that his first units are closer to that lower southeast portion of the map where that medium fuel point resides, and he has a quicker access to those two houses as well as the surrounding medium munitions points. As we all know, being able to control that position as either army on this map, the one with those two houses, can really be beneficial to your early to mid game. So this is probably what TomiToma wants to do. On the other hand, Seb opens with, and of course we have the French language making an appearance, since both of these players are French. On the other hand, as I was saying, Seb opens with a jeep, which is kind of non-standard, but can be of course helpful, dislodging MGs, hindering their movement, driving folks out of cover, hunting down pioneers, being a good scout unit, etc, etc, as long as you can keep it alive and all that stuff. On the other hand, TomiToma opened with an MG team that was positioned by those haystacks in the strategic point to the north of his base, but he does not seem to be following it up with a Volks, but with a motorcycle that he keeps by his pioneers in order to get repaired, putting some pressure on the jeep that is brought down to around 50% health, and subsequently has to either retreat, reposition, or go near some engineers in order to get repaired. Second squad out by Seb is of course some riflemen that are making their way towards the center of the map, trying to avoid those two houses that are under the control of TomiToma by now, since his MG42 has safely moved into the bigger one of them, the stone house, but is continually being microed and now exits and tries to reposition facing the west, which is of course the route that TomiToma expects Seb to be approaching from. And he is of course right. However, now with a second rifleman squad out, that MG position may be vulnerable to the flank that may be approaching, as we see on the tactical map. The second rifleman squad is of course approaching from the north. That MG42 has one rifleman squad pinned, now tries to repack and reposition facing the north. The jeep is nearby, tries to hinder its movement as much as he can, but the MG will promptly set up. The folks are nearby, engineers are being focused down, they have to retreat. The approaching squad from the north, the rifleman squad, do have to retreat as well. And the whole thing that Seb managed to gain from all this engagement was of course the bike the bike that went down to most probably rifleman fire during the whole thing. However, he did take some losses on his second rifleman squad. It was brought down to 2 members, and he had to spend quite a few manpower reinforcing both his riflemen as well as his engineers. So I would say fair trade for the bike. Fourth unit out by TomiToma is a second MG42, while Seb continues with riflemen, has control of the west of the map, while TomiToma focuses on the southeast and on those 2 houses. Now TomiToma, I would say that he overextended a bit. He was most probably trying to pin the American player to his base by moving both his MGs quite forward, and therefore he has to retreat one of them as well as his Volks, and is in danger of taking heavy losses on his second MG42. That's why he retreats that as well. So after that early pressure and the events that just unfolded, I could say that that overconfidence by TomiToma didn't seem to be paying off exactly as he would like to, and those that green cover provided by the stone walls near the American player's base gave his MG42s a hard time trying to pin them. Therefore they moved in, actually forced a full retreat by the Wehrmacht player, and now here is the critical point in each point at this matchup. If you are forced to retreat completely with a Wehrmacht, then you have a hard time taking back the territory you owned, because the riflemen, as we all know, cap faster than the Volks, and losing sectors is not something that you want to happen to you when playing as Wehrmacht. No other taking indication by the Wehrmacht player. Most probably he will be at tier 2 in his HQ by now, but no Kriegsparks on the way or anything like that. He seems to be content with trying to force off those riflemen that linger around the map, and he manages to do so, at least for that squad that was to the east of the map. Pioneers that seem to have taken a rather weird role of capping territory to the west won't be making much progress there, because the Jeep as well as the 2 engineers are going to be enough to hold them back. That's why there is that second MG42 that made its way there, opens fire on the Jeep, and oddly enough we have actually let's take this time to time sync. Actually, we're at the 7 minute 20 second 21 22 23 minute mark, and as I was saying, oddly enough, Seb actually followed up with 4 rifleman squads after the Jeep, which is kind of uncommon, because usually you'll see 3 riflemen when you get a Jeep. But Seb seems to be content with over-investing, I would say, in that tier 1, even getting grenades on his riflemen, and now he just managed to pull a flank on 2 Volks and an MG42, taking minimal losses on his riflemen, utilizing of course the grenade upgrade, and he actually forced that retreat by those 2 Volks and the MG42, once again putting the pressure on the Wehrmacht player, decapping his sectors, the sectors that the Wehrmacht player held in the east, and of course constraining the resource income of the Wehrmacht player. Still no further taking indication by the Wehrmacht player, and I'm really curious if that means that he's gonna go straight to tier 4. I wouldn't know. I don't think he has the fuel to do that, and I'm too lazy. I'm not lazy actually to change the view, because I know there's this bug that then I won't be able to see the freaking American units, and I'll have to switch fog of war on and off and all that, and I don't want to go into that. We'll just have to go with the darkness here and wait for TomiToma to surprise us with his choice of taking. Back to the American player's base. He just now got even bars on his rifleman, so he has bars, grenades, probably he can stick it at some point, and he has invested in a supply yard. Supply yard will, of course, put some ease on his manpower income, and will give eventually some easier way to the rifles, to the way rifles vet, to how easy they vet. Curiously enough, curious and surprised to see a sniper on the field by TomiToma, a sniper that's taking hit by bar fire and it does not seem to be cloaking, and although he's one-on-one, but the jeep is nearby and the sniper is gone. What the hell was that? That sniper was firing without cloaking at those riflemen and gave the jeep just the time it needed to flank behind, kill the MG42 and even kill the sniper. And we have a doctrine indication by the Wehrmacht player, and that is Blitzkrieg. Says we have some stormtroopers on the field. Stormtroopers which who maybe should I say who will be most probably upgraded with Shreks, because no, they will be upgraded with the MP44s because he wants to use them as a counter to bar riflemen. No, I don't know about that. Well, TomiToma must probably has been seeing that the riflemen were not healed. Maybe he invested in the fact that they would be okay to try to take on riflemen with those storms, but there is a trial center up now, and bars against MP44s. When bars get veterancy, it's not gonna work, and TomiToma does not seem to be using any Kampfkraft center to get veterancy there, but he has his tier 3 up. Probably he's gonna get the Puma out. That's gonna help him against those bars. Engineers in grave danger of going down. Jeep trying to back off and avoid those stormtroopers. Engineer squad that did go down actually, and that is the first loss for the American player, and that is good for him because his unit's preservation is good. However, he now loses the jeep as well. The jeep that was at vet 1, he did manage to get that veterancy, killing that MG42, killing the sniper, and all those units previously had the grenades, detonates, kills off a Volksgrenadier squad, and that is, I couldn't say heavy loss for the Wehrmacht player, but the fact is that he doesn't have a med bunker up, and whatever losses you take, if you don't have a med bunker, don't come back. So yeah, it's gonna be, I mean, folks are not too good against bars anyway, but losing them is a whole other story. First unit out of the Sturm Armory is of course a Puma that's gonna head over to the west and try to fight off those riflemen there that previously forced a Volks to retreat, an MG42 that seems to be protecting the high munition point to the west. Attempt coming to flank, coordinated with an artillery barrage by Seb, forces an MG42 to retreat. Doesn't seem to be causing any more trouble for the Wehrmacht player. Those riflemen, of course, have the ability to lay mines, since the commander choice for Seb was infantry, and they proceed to do so with rigorously, because we all know that Mine spamming can be devastating, and there's one more reason for them to mine spam, and that is of course the invisible stormtroopers that run around the field causing mayhem to the American forces. Exchange of grenades between the bar riflemen and the stormtroopers resulted in both of them actually retreating, but the riflemen taking more casualties than the stormtroopers. Once more, attempt by Seb to harass the medium fuel point to the east meets an MG42, as well as some Volks, a good coverage of that area by TomiToma. And we have tier 4 up by Seb at the 14-minute 40-second mark, and he uses it to get an M10. M10 that is now currently being used to drive off an MG42 team to the west, and most probably it will then later be used to counter that pesky Pumas. And oddly enough, the M10 killed the MG42. So there you go. Here is your MG42 counter, M10 in their face, and killing them off with its cannon. Barred rifleman in the building, taking on Volks in light cover with veterans level 1 now, but still no match for the Vet 1 rifleman squad and the cover of the stone house. Both Volks have to retreat. M10 has moved to the east, takes shots on the Puma, won't actually pursue the Puma anymore. Turns around and tries to crash some storms. Storms that, do they have a Shrek? I don't think they do. So essentially the only way TomiToma can respond to that M10 is the stock that just came out of the... Wow, what the hell? Okay, the stat just came out of the Storm Armory. There was an... wow. There was artillery being fired on the Storm Armory and the Stug. It even hit his own M10. There was a fast hit by some nearby Volks, and a shot by the Stug, and both the Stug and the M10 go down, and the Storm Armory is at very, very low health. So that exchange, of course, I would say goes totally in favor of Seb. TomiToma now has to gain once again their resources to build another Stag, and of course he needs to repair that Storm Armory, because it is essential that that Storm Armory survives. Otherwise, the only AT that TomiToma will have will be stormtroopers that he can of course call in with Shreks or the eventual Tigger. And hoping for that to work may not be his best chance to to get this game, to win this game. The makings of a flank and the horizon, or just, you know, the onset of more harassment by Seb. 2 Rahman squad in the north, 2 more hanging out in the west, some engineers trying to dig up the high munition void, but retreating actually, repositioning in the face of a Puma, a second MG42, some stormtroopers taking on riflemen to the north. Will actually be able to kill those riflemen? No, they're not lucky enough. So that rifleman squad retreats with 1 member left. M10 taking on the Puma in the west, most probably is gonna take it down. Second squad of stormtroopers out. This time they will most probably get some Shreks. Puma is gonna go down. 1 light vehicle kill for the M10. Maybe we're just witnessing the beginnings of a Vet 3 M10, maybe not. And of course here we have the second artillery barrage on the Storm Armory. This time, hopefully, the artillery won't hit the M10. and even if the artillery doesn't kill the armory, the M10 surely will. However, the artillery is enough, the Stug is out. Unfortunately for TomiToma, the Stug took a hit from the artillery, is getting down to 50% health. Subsequent hits by the M10, well, most probably no, they won't kill the Stug because the stormtroopers with strikes are nearby, and most probably this M10 will go down because it does have a damaged engine. So now we are back where we started, I guess. No tier 3, no Stugs, no M8s, and the AT for TomiToma now is his stormtroopers. And of course the forces of Seb are his riflemen with bars, the ones that will soon start to get veterancy. They mowed down those Volksgrenadiers by the central victory point, vet level 2 for one of the rifleman squads. Let's see, actually their new other veterancy, only one squad of riflemen with veterancy level 2. Seems they were greedy, they got all the kills. Stug getting repaired, another M10 out. Is it gonna be enough against the Stug? Of course not, because most probably the Stug will have the support of the stormtroopers, and unless, of course, the M10 has the support of the riflemen that are flanking from 3 directions towards the center of the map. Some of them gain veterancy. Storms with MP44s try to force one of them off. MG42 goes down to the fire of the riflemen. Vet 2 riflemen still around. Vet 1 just for the Wehrmacht infantry. That's not gonna be enough. Stug has been repaired, make its way out of the Wehrmacht player's base, tries to attack those riflemen, tries to hold them off, but he needs to be careful of stickies. Bundle nade goes in towards the place where riflemen were trying to recruit the Wehrmacht MG42, manages to kill those riflemen that just had recruited the gun, and now TomiToma moves forward, tries to hand down the M10 that is brought down to around 20% health from the previous engagement, and double Shrek. Stormtroopers with veterans level 2 now for the Wehrmacht infantry are going to be more than enough to take out the M10 and any subsequent armor, unless that armor comes in large quantities. You are now at the 21 minute, 41, 42, 43 minute mark, and the Wehrmacht player seems to be, despite the losses that he has taken, seems to be okay for the moment being. The Strikes on the Storms, the MP44s on the other Storms, and the Stug are gonna be enough. But his main problem is, of course, the veterancy that starts to stack up on those riflemen. And no matter how good you may play with your forces, if those riflemen do not completely die, eventually you'll have to deal with lots of freaking veterancy, and veterancy of course affects everything. Affects the stickies, affects their damage, affects their health, affects their accuracy. There are whole lots of bunch of things that you have to be very, very wary of. Volksgrenadiers to the west trying to cap some victory points, and that is why, and that's because TomiToma is down to 35 victory points. The whole harassment game, the pressure that was put on by Seb,